Hey there guys, how's it going? So in the list of top 10 loudest animals on the planet, you have the top 3 being a blue whale, a greater bulldog bat, and a tiger pistol shrimp. Now, if you'd have guessed that the blue whale would be the loudest because given its size it has massive lungs, you'd be actually wrong. The loudest animal on earth is the tiger pistol shrimp, the smallest of the top 3. And it kind of reminds me of this guy. This right here is the JBL Clip 4 Bluetooth speaker. It's a tiny little Bluetooth speaker that has no business being as loud as it is. Okay, so in general, whenever you want a speaker of any sort, if you want better performance, more volume, bigger is generally the way you want to go. But you don't always want to be lugging around this giant speaker so you can have some good tunes wherever you go. And there are a lot of Bluetooth speakers that are small and try to solve that. Now, in my personal experience, I found that these small Bluetooth speakers, or speakers in general, often have a lot of trade-offs when it comes to sound quality, especially when you try to crank the volume to the max to, get the maximum sound. You'll usually get some distortion. Okay, let's go through the specs. So it's got a single 4cm dynamic driver, Bluetooth 5.1, IP67 water and dust resistance. It's got a 3.885 watt-hour battery, and if you convert that to milliamp hours, it's 777 milliamp hours. Okay, so when I first got my hands on these speakers, the first impressions were not at all what I expected. As I said, this thing is so small and yet gets so loud, and it's not even a very powerful driver. It only has a 5-watt output, so it's pretty impressive how loud it gets. Alright, so build quality. This thing is actually quite well built. It's nothing I'd say premium, but it's rugged enough that it's going to survive its use for the predicted lifetime. Alright, so on the front you've got big nice audio controls. So you have a plus and minus, and that controls your volume. The play button acts as a play pause as well as selecting your tracks forward and backwards. Off to the side you have your power button and a Bluetooth button. Right, so how you turn it on is just hold the power button for a couple of seconds and it comes on, and you get this little white indicator light that basically tells you everything you need to know, and it's the only way this thing tells you everything you need to know about it. Right, all of that is wrapped up in this brushed aluminum rail that actually feels quite premium, but it doesn't go all the way around, and that's because off to this side there's this little clipping mechanism for a carabiner clip. The whole thing looks like a padlock, and that's why it's called the clip. Carabiner clip, JBL clip. The use cases that I've seen for this are so far someone hanging it on their backpack, on their chest. I don't know who does that, but if you want to, you can do that. Most people though, I'll find that you're just going to place this somewhere and listen to music normally. Alright, so sound quality. As I said, this thing has a single dynamic driver. That means that single driver has to account for all the frequency ranges that songs usually have. And I have to say it does an excellent job of producing that sound, and not only producing it, but producing it so loud, and even at 100%, you're not going to hear any distortion whatsoever. Vocals are extremely clear, the highs are well accounted for, the bass is there, but it's a bit lacking. Although you could probably solve that quite easily by just placing it on a surface that will act as a diaphragm, and then you can get your bass. Yeah, there are a few drawbacks when it comes to this speaker, and as expected with anything. First of all is that it only connects to a single device. So if you're in a group of people and someone wants to connect and play their music, you're gonna have to unpair and then repair. Tap the little Bluetooth button to activate pairing mode, and then that person has to dive into the Bluetooth settings to connect. There's no fast pairing or app that goes with it, which is the second thing that is missing. I downloaded the JBL Connect app and tried to connect it that way, and in the extensive list of devices they support, this isn't among. So there's no way of controlling EQ or doing any other thing with it other than just connecting and listening to music. There is no microphone, so you can't use it for calls, although I don't see myself using a Bluetooth speaker for calls unless maybe you're in a car or something and your car doesn't have inbuilt Bluetooth. Generally you want to disconnect and take your phone call using your phone anyways. It's got no battery percentage indicator. So remember that single LED? Well, that LED does everything. So when it's a solid white light, it means it's connected. If it's flashing, it means it's in pairing mode. If it's red, A solid red, it's when it's charging, and if it's a flashing red, it means it has low battery, which thankfully you won't be seeing too often because this thing is rated for about 10 hours of use. Now, I haven't religiously tested that out, but from my experience, it's plenty and it's enough to get you through whatever day you have, and you won't find any problems. It also has super aggressive power management and battery saving. So if you're connected to a device and you don't play sound for a few minutes, it's going to turn off the speaker. If obviously you've disconnected, it's going to turn off the speaker even faster. So I find that helps extend the battery life a bit longer. And of course, if you're listening to it at full blast, which not many people do, I find myself listening at about 60% volume, it's going to last that quoted time easily. But when it does run out though, it has a drawback. Well, first of all, let's talk about the good thing. It has a USB Type-C connector, which thank goodness for that. But it doesn't have fast charging, so it can only charge at 5 watts, which means it takes about 3 hours to charge that battery up, which isn't the end of the world if you're using it casually. But say you have a day out and you brought the speaker along with you and you do need to charge it, it is going to be a bit of a letdown. But at least you can use it while charging. Another drawback of the speaker is the unfortunate placement of the power button. Okay, it's intuitive at first, but you find that it's easy to bump that button. It's very easy. It's at the top, off to the side, which is where you'd normally be holding the speaker. And funny enough, to turn it off, you don't need to hold. It's just a single tap. Yeah, so I found myself turning off the speaker when I didn't mean to. Alright, so apart from those drawbacks, this is actually quite a good speaker, especially for the price. At launch it was about $70, but I'm sure you can get it for about 40 or 50 right now if that's what you wanted. And that's because the JBL Clip 5 has replaced it. But it's still a good speaker if you're looking for a tiny Bluetooth speaker that is going to be loud enough. Oh, and also it's a great replacement for pretty much any laptop speaker. There's no laptop speaker that comes close to this, and it's light enough that it's only 200 grams. It's light enough that you're probably not going to notice the weight, and if you do clip it to your bag, it is going to not be an issue at all. Alright, so would you buy this Bluetooth speaker? I would say yes, although I would probably first look around and see what the competition are making. The tiny Bluetooth speaker space is actually quite big, and there's so many options out there. But whatever you decide, or if you can't decide, I'm sure you cannot go wrong buying one of these. Okay, so before I leave, here's a pro tip. If you want to know if your JBL Bluetooth speaker is authentic, all you have to do is turn it on. And when it sounds like that, and there's no lady telling you Bluetooth mode or something like that, there's no one narrating what's happening, it's probably authentic. If it has that lady announcing things, it's mostly a lady. If it has someone narrating what's happening, it's probably a fake. Anyway, that's been it from me, guys. Let me know in the comments, what are some of your favorite tiny Bluetooth speakers? Maybe I'll check them out. And also don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. That helps us a lot. Also ring the bell icon so you get notified when I post a new video. And I'll see you in the next one.